Every single day, millions of people wake up, pour a glass of water, and take their blood pressure medication. Your doctor probably told you to take it first thing in the morning with your breakfast. It is the standard mainstream medical routine, and it is passed down like absolute gospel. But what if I told you that by blindly following this generic advice, you might actually be taking your medication at the most dangerous possible time, placing your heart and your brain in the crosshairs of a catastrophic event? Mainstream medicine loves convenience. They want to give you a pill that is easy to remember, but your biology operates on a very precise clock, and ignoring that internal clock is a dangerous game that the establishment consistently gets wrong. Today, we are tearing up the standard prescription pad. I am going to walk you through a specific countdown of 6 vital rules about exactly when and how your body actually handles blood pressure. But you need to hear me clearly. The number 1 item on this list, final rule I will share today, is the single most powerful biological secret to protecting your cardiovascular system. Almost nobody in standard clinical practice is talking about it, and you must stay with me until the very end of this video to hear it and understand exactly how to use it. Before we dive into the hard science, I need to know exactly who I am talking to today. Go down into the comments right now and drop your current age and the highest blood pressure reading you have had this year. Put it down there, so we can build a real community of people taking back control. Please, listen to me. The traditional healthcare system is completely overwhelmed, and frankly, it is leaving you behind with outdated, one-size-fits-all advice. Your health, your longevity, and your very life are on the line. I am bringing you this life-saving, clinically verified research absolutely free, because you deserve the truth, not just a rushed 7-minute consultation. You owe it to yourself, to your children, and to the people who love and rely on you to take your vitality seriously. Hit the subscribe button for Eat for a Life right now. Like this video right now. Do it so I can keep fighting to bring you the unvarnished medical truth. Let us begin. Let us start with rule number 6. The single biggest lie you have been told about blood pressure is that the danger zone only exists while you are awake. Most patients, and frankly many doctors, assume that because you are stressed at work, moving around, and physically active during the daylight hours, that is exactly when your blood pressure spikes. Therefore, making the morning the logical time to swallow your pill seems perfectly reasonable. You think you are protecting yourself with a busy day ahead, putting on your biological armor before you walk out the front door. This assumption is fundamentally flawed. It completely ignores how your vascular system actually repairs itself, and it is a misconception that is costing lives every single day. To understand why this is so dangerous, we have to look at the hard science of your body's circadian rhythm, specifically a biological phenomenon known as nocturnal dipping. In a perfectly healthy human body, when your head hits the pillow and you go to sleep, your autonomic nervous system shifts gears. Your blood pressure should naturally drop or dip by 10 to 20%. This is your cardiovascular system's most crucial recovery period. It is when your heart rests and your blood vessels heal. However, millions of people suffer from a silent condition we call non-dipping. Their blood pressure stays dangerously elevated all night long. The landmark Chronotherapy trial, which is one of the largest and most prestigious studies ever conducted on this topic, involving over 19,000 patients, revealed something absolutely terrifying. Patients who took their blood pressure medication exclusively in the morning had a significantly higher risk of a major cardiovascular event compared to those who took their medication at night. The study explicitly found that taking at least one of your blood pressure medications at bedtime reduced the relative risk of cardiovascular death, stroke, and heart failure by an astonishing 45%. When your blood pressure stays high at night, the sheer mechanical stress on your endothelial cells, which is the delicate one-cell thick inner lining of your blood vessels, creates microscopic tears. These tears act like a magnet for cholesterol plaque. You are quite literally accelerating atherosclerosis and heart disease while you are asleep in your bed. So, what is the practical, measurable prescription for you today? You need to step up and become your own medical detective. Stop only checking your blood pressure at 8 o'clock in the morning. Starting tonight, you must measure your blood pressure right before you go to sleep. You need to know your nighttime baseline. If your systolic number, that is the top number on your monitor, remains consistently high, right before bed, you are highly likely to be a non-dipper. You must bring this exact data to your physician and ask a very specific question. You need to ask them if you should shift one of your medications, perhaps an ACE inhibitor or an angiotensin receptor blocker, to the evening hours. Do not change your medication schedule without your doctor's supervision, but you must firmly demand that they look at your nighttime numbers and adjust your protocol. Let me tell you about Richard, a 62-year-old patient from Cleveland, Ohio. Richard was incredibly frustrated and scared. He was taking his medication every single morning religiously, yet he kept waking up with these dull, throbbing morning headaches, and his morning blood pressure was still stubbornly high, often hitting 150/90. His local doctor just kept increasing his morning dose, making him feel exhausted and dizzy during the day. When we finally got Richard to track his nighttime numbers, the mystery was solved. His blood pressure was spiking violently at 2 in the morning. We worked with his physician to move just one of his standard pills to dinner time. Within 3 weeks, his morning headaches vanished entirely, and his waking blood pressure dropped by 15 points into a perfectly healthy, safe range. He saved his own life by changing the clock, not the pill. Here is the biological synergy hack you can use to multiply this protective effect naturally. Your blood vessels relax at night through a vital molecule called nitric oxide. You can scientifically enhance your body's nocturnal dipping by consuming foods rich in natural muscle relaxants about 2 hours before you go to sleep. Eating exactly 1/4 cup of raw pumpkin seeds provides a massive dose of dietary magnesium. Magnesium biologically blocks calcium from entering the muscle cells of your heart and arteries, forcing them to relax wide open. When you combine this precise dietary strategy with properly timed medication, you give your cardiovascular system the deep restorative healing it desperately needs to keep you alive and thriving. Let us move down to rule number 5. One of the most dangerous myths perpetuated by mainstream dietitians is that managing your blood pressure is exclusively about how much sodium you put on your plate. They drill it into your head to hide the salt shaker, but they completely ignore the biological catastrophe of when you are actually putting food into your mouth. You might be eating the cleanest, lowest sodium diet in the world, but if you are eating right before you go to sleep, you are fundamentally short-circuiting your medication. People assume their stomach is just a furnace that burns the same way all day and night. That is dead wrong. Your digestive tract is intimately wired to your cardiovascular system, and eating late at night throws a massive wrench into your heart's ability to power down. The hard science on this is absolutely undeniable. When you consume a meal, especially one rich in carbohydrates or heavy fats, your body has to pump massive amounts of blood to your gut to facilitate digestion. This triggers a surge in sympathetic nervous system activity. Your heart rate elevates and your adrenal glands release cortisol. Researchers at Columbia University Irving Medical Center have published phenomenal data showing that consuming more than 30% of your daily calories after 6 in the evening is directly associated with a 23% higher risk of developing nocturnal hypertension. When you eat late, your body produces a spike in insulin. Insulin signals your kidneys to desperately hold on to sodium. So even if your dinner was low in salt, the late hour causes your body to hoard whatever sodium is there, completely neutralizing the very blood pressure medication you just swallowed. You are forcing your heart to run a marathon while you are lying in bed trying to sleep. So what is the exact actionable prescription? You must enforce a strict 3-hour fasting window before your head hits the pillow. If your bedtime is 11 o'clock at night, your kitchen is locked, and the lights are out at 8 o'clock. No exceptions. But listen to me very carefully right now. Making this change requires discipline, and time is not on your side. Every single night you force your heart to work overtime, you are silently accelerating the aging of your arteries. A stroke does not wait for you to get motivated. A heart attack does not care if you are busy. Your life is happening right now, and the window to protect your vitality is closing with every passing year. You have to take this seriously. I need you to subscribe to Eat for a Life right now. Make a commitment to yourself at this very second that you refuse to be another statistic in a broken medical system. Subscribe to the channel so I can keep giving you the exact tools you need to reclaim your health. You owe it to your future. Look at what happened to Maria, a 55-year-old teacher from Austin, Texas. Maria came to me terrified. She was on 2 different blood pressure medications, yet she was waking up every morning with a racing heart and a blood pressure hovering dangerously at 145/95. She thought she was doing everything right by eating plain oatmeal and a banana at 10 o'clock at night to settle her stomach before bed. I told her to completely stop that late night snack and shift those calories to her lunch. Within just 14 days, the results were staggering. Without changing a single milligram of her medication, her waking blood pressure plummeted by 18 points. By simply respecting her body's digestive clock, she allowed her medication to finally do its job. Here is a scientifically verified synergy tip to take this to the next level. If you are struggling with that late night oral fixation and feel like you need something after dinner, do not reach for food. Instead, steep 1 cup of high quality organic hibiscus tea. Hibiscus contains powerful bioactive compounds called anthocyanins. Clinical trials have proven that these specific anthocyanins act as a natural ACE inhibitor, functioning through the exact same biological pathways as some of the most common pharmaceutical drugs. By drinking 1 cup of warm hibiscus tea during your 3-hour pre-sleep fasting window, you are actively suppressing the enzymes that constrict your blood vessels, giving your nighttime medication a massive, natural boost while you sleep. Let us move on to rule number 4 in our countdown. When it comes to taking any medication, standard medical practice treats water as nothing more than a basic vehicle to just wash a pill down your throat. Your doctor probably told you to wake up, take a quick sip from the glass on your nightstand, swallow your medication, and get on with your day, usually following it up immediately with a massive cup of coffee. This is a catastrophic misunderstanding of morning human biology. People assume their cardiovascular system wakes up in the exact same state it went to sleep, completely ignoring the fact that you just spent the last 7 or 8 hours exhaling moisture and sweating in your bed. You are not just swallowing a pill. You are dropping that chemical compound into a cardiovascular system that is severely compromised, dehydrated, and mechanically struggling to keep up. The hard science behind this morning danger zone is rooted in a physiological concept called blood viscosity. While you sleep, your body loses nearly a full liter of water through respiration and invisible perspiration. Because you are not drinking to replace it, your blood literally thickens. It becomes highly viscous, acting more like sludge than a smooth flowing liquid. At the exact same time you wake up, your body releases a massive biologically programmed surge of cortisol and adrenaline to get you out of bed. This morning surge violently constricts your blood vessels. Researchers at institutions like Loma Linda University have demonstrated that this combination of thick, dehydrated blood and hormonally constricted arteries is the exact biological reason why fatal heart attacks and strokes are overwhelmingly most likely to occur between 6 in the morning and noon. When you wake up and take your blood pressure medication with just a tiny sip of water, you are forcing that drug to dissolve and circulate through thick, sluggish blood, severely delaying its systemic absorption and forcing your heart to work twice as hard just to push the medicine through your body. You are effectively leaving your heart completely unprotected during the most dangerous hours of your day. The practical prescription to neutralize this morning danger zone is highly specific and costs you absolutely nothing. Tomorrow morning, before you do anything else, before you check your phone, before you brew your coffee, and critically, before you swallow any morning medications, you must systemically rehydrate your vascular system. You need to consume exactly 16 ounces of room temperature filtered water within the very first 20 minutes of opening your eyes. You cannot just sip it casually over an hour, and it cannot be ice cold, which would shock the vagus nerve and potentially constrict your arteries even further. You must drink those 16 ounces purposefully to rapidly expand your blood volume, dilute that morning sludge, and prime your gastrointestinal tract to actually absorb the medication you are about to take. Wait exactly 20 to 30 minutes after finishing this water before you swallow your pill. Let me introduce you to David, a 48-year-old software engineer from Seattle, Washington. David was terrified because every single morning at around 7:30, he would experience intense pounding heart palpitations. His blood pressure would consistently spike to 150/95, even though he literally reached for his medication the second his eyes opened, washing it down with a single gulp of tap water. His doctor was completely baffled and wanted to prescribe a secondary heavy beta blocker. Instead, I told David to hold off on his pill. I had him drink 16 ounces of room temperature water at 7 o'clock, wait 30 minutes for his blood viscosity to drop and normalize, and then take his medication. Within 4 days, David's morning palpitations completely disappeared. His morning blood pressure stabilized at a beautiful, safe 125/80. By simply changing the biological environment his pill entered, he eliminated the need for a second pharmaceutical drug. To truly maximize this protective effect, there is a brilliant, scientifically verified synergy tip you can add to this morning routine. Plain water is excellent, but you can turn that hydration into a powerful vasodilator by adding exactly 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar to the glass. Cream of tartar is not just a baking ingredient, it is pure potassium bitartrate. Potassium is the ultimate biological counterbalance to sodium. While sodium pulls water into your bloodstream and raises pressure, Potassium actively signals the endothelial cells in your arteries to relax and flush excess sodium out through your kidneys. By dissolving this tiny amount of potassium into your 16 ounces of morning water, you are instantly widening your blood vessels, dramatically lowering your morning blood viscosity, and creating the absolute perfect biological environment for your blood pressure medication to work seamlessly. Let us move down to rule number 3. There is a morning ritual so deeply ingrained in our society that most doctors never even think to ask you about it. You wake up, you pour a hot cup of coffee, and you pop your blood pressure pill right along with it. The mainstream medical community treats coffee as a harmless breakfast beverage, practically ignoring the violent biochemical collision that happens when you mix roasted coffee beans with highly sensitive cardiovascular pharmaceuticals. You have been led to believe that as long as the pill makes it into your stomach, it is going to do its job. That is a dangerous, fundamental misunderstanding of how human digestion actually processes complex chemicals. Let us look at the hard science of what is exactly happening in your gut. Your blood pressure medication is engineered to dissolve and absorb at a very specific rate through the lining of your intestines. But coffee is a highly complex, acidic cocktail loaded with potent compounds called tannins and chlorogenic acids. When you swallow your pill with coffee, or even within an hour of drinking it, these tannins act like a chemical glue. They literally bind to the active pharmaceutical ingredients in common beta blockers and calcium channel blockers, creating a heavy, insoluble complex that your body simply cannot absorb. Furthermore, the caffeine instantly triggers a massive release of adrenaline, forcibly constricting your blood vessels while the medication is desperately trying to relax them. Researchers at major pharmacological institutions have shown that consuming caffeine concurrently with antihypertensive drugs can severely blunt the medication's absorption by up to 40%, while simultaneously triggering a secondary blood pressure spike that peaks exactly 1 hour later. You are effectively paying for a life-saving drug, only to flush nearly half of it away while giving your heart a chemical punch in the face. Listen to me, and please hear the weight of what I am saying. Your heart beats around 100,000 times a day. Every single one of those beats under the strain of high blood pressure is a microscopic hammer striking the delicate walls of your arteries, pushing you one step closer to a devastating stroke or a massive heart attack that will shatter your family's world. Aging does not wait. Cardiovascular disease does not negotiate. It silently steals your future while you are busy going through your comfortable morning routines. You cannot afford to play games with your vitality anymore. I need you to subscribe to Eat for a Life right now. Make the choice today that you are going to fight back. Hit that subscribe button so I can arm you with the unyielding medical truth that the establishment is too busy to tell you. You are worth saving, but you have to take the first step. Your actionable prescription is the 90-minute caffeine buffer. If your doctor has instructed you to take your medication in the morning, you must create a strict firewall between your pill and your coffee pot. You swallow your medication with the 16 ounces of water we just talked about, and then you must wait exactly 90 minutes before a single drop of coffee or caffeinated tea touches your lips. This gives your gastrointestinal tract the precise physiological window it needs to fully break down, absorb, and circulate the medication into your bloodstream without any biochemical interference. Look at Robert, a 58-year-old architect from Denver, Colorado. Robert was completely exhausted. He was on a heavy dose of a calcium channel blocker, yet his blood pressure would randomly spike to 160/90 right in the middle of his morning meetings. His doctor kept telling him it was just work stress. But when we audited his routine, we found he was swallowing his pill every morning with a massive dark roast coffee. I ordered him to implement the 90-minute caffeine buffer. That was the only thing we changed. Within just 1 week, Robert's dangerous mid-morning spikes vanished completely. His blood pressure dropped into a beautiful 120/78, and his midday exhaustion disappeared because his body was finally absorbing the medication he so desperately needed. Here is the biological synergy hack to make your delayed morning coffee work for your cardiovascular system instead of against it. When that 90-minute buffer is up and you finally pour your coffee, stir in exactly 1/2 teaspoon of organic Ceylon cinnamon. Ceylon cinnamon contains unique bioactive compounds called cinnamaldehydes. These compounds actively improve the elasticity of your blood vessels and act as a mild natural calcium channel blocker. Furthermore, cinnamon profoundly blunts the cortisol spike that caffeine normally triggers. By combining the 90-minute buffer with Ceylon cinnamon, you are protecting your medication's absorption window while transforming your morning coffee into a natural blood vessel relaxing therapy. Let us move on to rule number 2. There is a deeply rooted misconception in mainstream nutrition that all fresh fruit is universally protective for your heart. For decades, health magazines and television dietitians have been preaching the absolute necessity of a bright, healthy breakfast, usually featuring a tall glass of fresh juice. Millions of people wake up and proudly wash their blood pressure medication down with fresh grapefruit juice or a citrus blend, genuinely believing they are giving their immune system a massive, healthy boost of vitamin C to start the day. The establishment encourages this farm-to-table mentality, but they are completely failing to warn you that mixing specific morning fruits with cardiovascular medication is not just a mistake. It is a biochemical catastrophe that can literally stop your heart. To understand why this morning routine is so incredibly dangerous, we have to look at the hard science of your liver and your small intestine. Inside your digestive tract, you possess a highly specialized family of enzymes, most notably one called CYP3A4. The sole biological purpose of this enzyme is to act as a security guard, breaking down and metabolizing foreign substances, including your blood pressure medication, before they enter your systemic circulation. However, grapefruit, pomelos, and certain Seville oranges contain massive amounts of organic chemical compounds called furanocoumarins. When you consume these furanocoumarins in the morning alongside medications like calcium channel blockers or statins, they viciously attack and irreversibly bind to your CYP3A4 enzymes, completely wiping them out. Because the security guard is essentially paralyzed, your blood pressure medication is not broken down at all. Instead, it floods directly into your bloodstream at toxic levels. Researchers publishing in the Canadian Medical Association Journal have demonstrated that a single glass of grapefruit juice consumed near the time of your medication can increase the active concentration of the drug in your bloodstream by over 250%. You are not taking one pill. Your body is absorbing the equivalent of 3 or 4 pills all at once. This violent overdose causes your blood vessels to massively dilate, forcing your blood pressure to crash dangerously low, which can lead to fainting, sudden kidney failure, or a complete cardiovascular collapse. The practical, measurable prescription for this is an absolute non-negotiable biological firewall. You cannot negotiate with furanocoumarins. The scientific reality is that the enzyme paralyzing effect of a single glass of grapefruit juice does not just last for a few hours. It can cripple your CYP3A4 enzymes for up to 72 hours. Therefore, you cannot just try to space out your juice and your pill. If you are taking a calcium channel blocker like amlodipine, nifedipine, or felodipine, you must entirely eradicate grapefruit, pomelos, and Seville orange marmalade from your diet. You must audit your morning breakfast routine today and ruthlessly eliminate these specific citrus fruits to ensure your liver can properly process the chemicals you are swallowing. Let me tell you about Susan, a 66-year-old retiree living in Orlando, Florida. Susan had just moved to a beautiful new home with a mature grapefruit tree in the backyard. Wanting to embrace a healthy lifestyle, she began juicing those grapefruits every single morning and taking her prescribed dose of amlodipine right at the breakfast table. Within 3 weeks, Susan was suffering from terrifying dizzy spells, her ankles were heavily swollen, and she nearly fainted in her kitchen. Her local doctor was deeply confused by her suddenly crashing blood pressure and almost scheduled her for invasive cardiac testing. When she finally revealed her new morning juicing habit to us, the biochemical mystery was instantly solved. I ordered her to stop the grapefruit juice immediately. Within just 4 days, her liver generated new enzymes, her medication metabolized perfectly, and her terrifying dizzy spells completely vanished. She was silently poisoning herself with a so-called healthy breakfast. Here is the scientifically verified synergy tip to give your morning routine that antioxidant boost without risking your life. Instead of citrus juice, you should add exactly 1/2 cup of fresh or frozen wild blueberries to your morning meal. Blueberries contain absolutely zero furanocoumarins, meaning they will not interfere with your medication's metabolic pathway in the liver. However, they are packed with a highly potent phytonutrient called pterostilbene. Pterostilbene actively stimulates your endothelial cells to produce more nitric oxide, gently and naturally relaxing your blood vessels. By making this simple swap, you completely eliminate the deadly enzyme interaction while actively helping your medication achieve its goal of safely lowering your blood pressure. We have finally arrived at rule number 1, the absolute most powerful biological secret regarding your blood pressure medication, and the single most dangerous time you could possibly swallow that pill. The massive misconception here is driven by the modern fitness industry. Millions of well-intentioned people wake up swallow their blood pressure pill, and immediately head out the door for a strenuous morning run or heavy physical labor, genuinely believing that the medication will act as a chemical shield for their heart during the exertion. This is a fatal misunderstanding of biomechanics. You've been led to believe that your heart is a simple pump and the pill just magically keeps the pipes clear while you sweat. That is entirely false, and doing this can literally starve your heart of oxygen. Let us dive into the undeniable hard science. When you engage in strenuous physical activity, your muscles scream for oxygen-rich blood. To meet this massive biological demand, your heart rate must elevate and your blood pressure must naturally and temporarily rise to push that blood into your peripheral tissues. But if you have just swallowed a beta blocker or a heavy calcium channel blocker 30 minutes prior, you have introduced a chemical straitjacket to your cardiovascular system. Researchers at Harvard Medical School have meticulously documented that taking these medications immediately before physical exertion artificially caps your maximum heart rate and forcibly dilates blood vessels when they actually need to dynamically contract and pump. Your legs are demanding oxygen, but your chemically restrained heart simply cannot beat fast enough to deliver it. This mismatch creates a terrifying condition called myocardial ischemia, where the heart muscle itself begins to suffocate from a lack of oxygenated blood during your workout, drastically increasing your risk of a sudden catastrophic cardiac event right there on the pavement. Listen to me, because your life quite literally depends on understanding this. Every time you blindly force your body through these dangerous routines, you are playing Russian roulette with your cardiovascular system. A sudden cardiac event does not offer second chances, and your family cannot afford to lose you just because you are following outdated generic advice. Your longevity is slipping through your fingers while you wait for the mainstream medical system to catch up. You absolutely must take radical ownership of your health today. I need you to subscribe to Eat for a Life right now. Do not put it off. Hit that subscribe button so I can continue to bring you the unvarnished, life-saving truth that you so desperately need. You owe it to your own future to survive and thrive. Your actionable prescription is the post-exertion recovery protocol. If you are going to engage in intense morning exercise, you must not take your medication beforehand. You wake up, you hydrate, you perform your workout, and then you must allow your body to complete a full physiological cool down. Wait exactly 1 hour after your workout concludes, allowing your resting heart rate to return to its absolute baseline, and only then should you swallow your blood pressure medication. Look at James, a 51-year-old accountant from Boston, Massachusetts. James was a dedicated morning runner, but he kept experiencing terrifying bouts of extreme dizziness and sharp chest tightness 3 miles into his route. He was blindly taking his beta blocker right before he laced up his running shoes. I told him to completely flip his routine. He started running first, waiting an hour while eating breakfast, and then taking his pill. Within a single week, his chest tightness completely vanished, his energy soared, and his medication actually stabilized his resting blood pressure far more effectively throughout the entire afternoon. To multiply this protective effect, here is a powerful biological synergy hack. Instead of taking your medication before your workout, drink 4 ounces of pure, cold-pressed beetroot juice. Beetroot is packed with natural dietary nitrates, which your body safely converts into nitric oxide. This provides a natural, non-chemical dilation of your blood vessels that safely supports the heavy oxygen demands of exercise without crippling your heart's fundamental ability to pump. You see, the ultimate truth about your health is that you are not a victim of your genetics, and you are not a prisoner to a broken medical system. You have total control over your vitality starting today. By shifting the timing of your medication, by respecting your body's deeply ingrained biological clocks, you are no longer just passively managing a disease. You are actively optimizing your longevity. You are worth this effort. You deserve a life free from the constant crushing anxiety of a looming health crisis. Please subscribe to Eat for a Life. Turn on that notification bell right now so you never miss a medical breakthrough, and go down into the comments and tell me exactly which one of these 6 timing changes you are going to make tomorrow morning. Your new life begins right now.